Welcome to session 9 of our series, Finance and the Church. My name is Erin Bender, and I'm a ministry consultant for Sacred Stones Ministries. Today, we will be looking at auditing and transparency, the local church audit. In today's session, we will discuss what is legally required of a church audit and why we have to do one, the guidelines for an audit, and what records are necessary for keeping and including in a church audit. You as the church treasurer with the local church leaders have planned, listed, recorded, reported, and shared the financial health of your local church. As the correct habits fall into place for this season of your church, there will come a time, once a year to be precise, when you will need to audit your books. As careful as you all have been with your finances, transparency is essential, and that is where the audit is an excellent tool. An audit in the business world can sometimes be a little nerve-wracking, but in the church, it's not meant to be a nitpicky way to find mistakes. Rather, it's a helpful tool to sharpen the financial recording of the church. Audit is the term used to process in a reasonable fashion that good stewardship practices are in place with regards to property and equipment. Audit is the term used to guide the church to feel assured that the money brought into the church for the mission of the church is spent in the manner in which it was directed. The importance of verifying good stewardship brings about that sense of assurance. According to the Book of Discipline, paragraph 258 4D, the audit committee shall make a full and complete report to the annual church conference. This report is based on internal controls. Internal controls are policies and procedures that are followed to minimize financial risks by deterring potential fraud, detect any errors or omissions, and protect volunteers and staff. The audit also reflects fidelity to the trust clause, which in the Book of Discipline, paragraph 2501, states that all properties of United Methodist local churches and other United Methodist agencies and institutions are held in trust for the benefit of the entire denomination, and ownership and usage of church property is subject to the Book of Discipline. The annual audit of financial records is the responsibility of the finance team, but it cannot be carried out by those persons. In fact, those involved in the audit may not be related to the treasurer, financial secretary, pastor, finance committee chair, business manager, those who count the offerings, or the church secretary. The term local church audit is an independent evaluation of financial reports and records the internal controls of the local church by qualified persons to verify the reliability of financial reporting. It determines whether assets are being safeguarded and whether the law, the Book of Discipline, and policies and procedures are being followed. The Book of Discipline states that the committee shall make provision for an annual audit of the financial statements of the local church and all its organizations and accounts. The information needed for each audit includes accessibility to church's policies and procedures, all minutes from finance committee, the trustees, and the administrative board, as well as charge conference minutes from the year that is being audited. Also included in the audit are the status of both bank and investment accounts, as well as a current list that includes who has access to those accounts. Financial statements for December through the next January, in other words, a 14-month period, bank and investment statements for that same 14-month period, as well as all paid invoices, payroll data, W-2s, and 1099s for that 14-month period, original journals and bookkeeping, financial secretary records and other income records, and finally, access to the deeds and other related supporting documentation for all property owned by the church. For all of these records, the policies and procedures surrounding them should be reviewed and updated as necessary to provide the most accurate records with the least amount of time expended. Audits are incredibly helpful for the local church because they can assist the church in following the money and see how it's treated during different steps in its journey. As churches change over the seasons in the life of a church, there might be better ways to deal with money and property records. It's an optimal time to review the controls and duties of those who handle the money. This way, there are checks and balances to protect volunteers, staff, and the church. And those checks and balances are kept up to date and current with whatever technology is present at the time. It is also a time to review where money is designated and to remember the mission of the church. One other purpose of the audit is to confirm that insurance coverage is adequate. And yet another purpose is to ensure that meeting minutes that affect finances, as well as financial statements, are correct. Any group in the local church that handles money is to be in the audit report, including
the trustees, anyone involved with the memorial or endowment funds, United Methodist Men, United Women in Faith, the pastor, and of course the pastor's discretionary fund, anyone involved in Sunday school or the music program, or any other groups within the church.
Information required for audits are copies of all church policies and procedures related to finance, copies of all minutes of the finance team, trustees, the administrative board, and previous charge conference, all bank and investment accounts,
all financial statements, bank reconciliation statements, all paid invoices, payroll, and tax information, the financial secretary's records, and deeds and other documentation for real property owned by the church.
Although transparency is essential for the health of the church,
we must remember that all personal or identifying information is confidential.
For instance, if someone received financial aid with the approval of leadership, that is not information that is considered shareable. Giving records are also confidential. Keep in mind that an audit is just another report demonstrating transparency and financial responsibility, while at the same time showing you a picture of your church's presence in the world.
For additional information and guidance, please contact the General Counsel on Finance and Administration of the United Methodist Church, located in Nashville, Tennessee. You can find their guidelines for managing records of the local church online at www.gcah.org. To wrap up our lesson today, let's review these questions for discussion. How often should a local church be audited? Who audits the local church's finances? What is audited in a local church audit? Who has access to the details of an audit? Why do local churches need an audit? What benefits are there for the local church to do an annual audit? Where can you find more information to help your local church do a proper audit?
Thank you for joining us for this session of Finance in the Church.